The Louisiana Restaurant Association presents the We Live to Eat podcast. It is said in Louisiana that a great deal of our culture revolves around food. The We Live to Eat podcast will explore Louisiana's restaurant industry one episode at a time. Laissez les bon temps rouler.
Welcome back, everyone, to the We Live to Eat podcast, the official podcast for the Louisiana Restaurant Association. I am your host, Quentin Williams, and today with me is a very special guest, owner of Our Moms in Hammond and Baton Rouge, JP No. How you doing, JP?
I'm doing great, Quentin. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. I have to start by saying that I have to get this out of the way first, or I'll never stop talking about it. I am a huge fan of Our Moms. Absolutely huge fan of the restaurant. I've been there, I can't even remember, countless times when I went to Southeastern and when I lived in Hammond for a couple of years after. It was like almost every other month, me and my friends or me and my sister would eat at Our Moms.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you. We really appreciate the support.
I wanted to start off by, before we get into all that with Our Moms, I do want to kind of start off by asking what got you into the restaurant industry early on, even before then? What sparked your interest in being in the industry?
I don't know, man. I guess I've always loved food. I used to weigh a whole lot more than this because I love food so much, and I still do. I battle with my weight. It goes up, it goes down, but I'm very happy about it. So I'm not that upset about it. But growing up, my parents, it's going to sound like they didn't feed me, but they fed me a lot. But I would always want to eat, and then they wouldn't tell me, I couldn't eat. They just told me that I had to make it myself. So I ended up just putting things together and trying to feed myself, and then I started having a lot of fun with it because it was always a little bit different, right? I'd try some different spices or whatever I found in the cabinet. I didn't know anything. I wasn't grocery shopping. I just found things, put it together and see if it tasted good or not. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But I always ate it. It wasn't like it was ever that bad where I couldn't eat it. But then in, I guess the beginning of college or the end of high school was one of those. I got a job as a dishwasher at Rubacher's, and then that's kind of where I started to really love the whole restaurant aspect of it. It was the people. More importantly, it was the people. So my friends there were awesome. I loved the high speed of it. I loved the chaos. Right. I loved that it was different every single day. When I first started off as a dishwasher, I remember just, being very proud. Maybe I bragged a little bit, maybe I talked a little to people, right? But it always had to be clean and it always had to be fast, right? And then from there, I just moved back to the kitchen, and then I started working my way through all the different positions. And it was just, I always wanted to be really good at what I did, and not so much to make someone else proud, but I just wanted to see how good I could get at it, Right. You set certain metrics, and they're easy to kind of see right in front of you what, like this ticket time, this is how it should look, so it was very easy to win, so to speak. So with that, I left the restaurant business probably in college-ish sometime, and then I got into the college bar business. Right. I started off as, working the door. I didn't really bartend too heavily, so I would never consider myself a true bartender, right? Yes, I could bartend, but I was never fast at it. So just because I could make something, but I just wasn't fast, so I wouldn't. That's why I would never call myself one. And from there, I got into the DJing world, and then that's how I was working in all through college and grad school. I went to grad school at Southeastern, and that's where I realized that I wanted to open up something in Southeastern, because then there wasn't that many bars to go to. Right. And then I figured I'm going to open up a bar, So my partner Trent, he worked at the same college bar that I did when I was DJing. My best friend was the manager there, so obviously we had a great time together. And then when it came time to, after graduating, get my MBA, and it was time to look for a quote unquote real job, that's when I realized I'm going to make my own kind of job. And then I opened up a business, and that's where your mom's was. And if you don't mind me asking, what year, what era were you at Southeastern? Was the bar still going on then?
I started in 2017, but I didn't really get to explore much of the town and get to know the campus and the downtown area until maybe like 2018 was when I really got into the whole scene of it. So I think that was about the year I actually started, went to Our Moms for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is the best burger I ever had. This is amazing. I didn't even know this place existed until now. So I think it was about 2018.
Mm-hmm. I think we had just ended the bar. If not, it was on the tail end of the bar. Because during that whole time period, we had the first location in Hammond, and then I don't remember which came first, but I'm pretty sure they were just very like close to the same time. We had the house in Tigerland. So we were doing the college bar in Hammond. We were doing the college bar at the house in Tigerland, obviously. Then we had our second location in Baton Rouge. And then one day we just decided that college life, the college bar life it had run its course, right? Like, settling down, start thinking about having families, and, it wasn't fair to do to our wives, like they would have supported us no matter what. But if you have to think long term, you can't be in our business forever, So that's when we decided to sell the house in Tigerland. That's when we decided to stop doing the college bar in Hammond. And then overnight, we changed our name from Your Moms to Our Moms and didn't tell anybody. So, and I wish I could remember the time about that, but it was probably around 18, 19, definitely before COVID. But that's how we got into it. And then we didn't even know we needed to serve so I wanted to be a bar. I didn't know I needed to be a restaurant. So when we went to go get our alcohol license from the ATC, they asked us where was our menu, and we're like, we don't need a menu. We're going to be a bar. Agent shakes their head. They're like, no, dude, you can't be just a bar. You have to be a restaurant. So my partner and I are scribbling down things that I thought I could do well, red beans, gumbo, things that my mom used to cook, roast and all that. Things that I thought were comfort food, but also lent itself very well to bar food at the same time. And I don't know, man, we got lucky, dude. We got real lucky that within the first year, our food really started to pick up. And I think in the last 13 years, we won Best Burger in Hammond the last 13 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
And then in Baton Rouge, we're consistently in the top 5. So we've been very lucky. It could have turned out a completely different way for us. But I'm going to say a little bit of luck, but there's a whole lot of hard work too. We were just hanging out this weekend, my partner and I and our wives, and we were talking about the time when, we wouldn't let each other, and not like let each other, like we wouldn't let ourselves take breaks for some reason. We felt very guilty if we did. We were always wanting to make sure that it was the best that it could be. But then you start to realize there is a thing called work-life balance, But luckily we were young enough at that time to where we could grind through, we could work till 4 o'clock in the morning, get like a very few hours of sleep, go back to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. We used to do restaurant during the day, and then we would do the bar at night. So around 9 o'clock, we would take all the tables and chairs out. Only I was DJing, Trent was running the bar. And we would just do that. God, it seemed like we did that like 8-9 years in a row, So it was a lot of fun, but you can't get it, like I said. So, and then now we just focus more on the restaurant side of things, and definitely the food. The food has to be amazing, right? But now I think our calling is to focus on the hospitality side and focus on how we make people feel. It's I don't know if it's cliche or not, right? But there's just something so fulfilling about making people smile,
right?
And finding the right people that understand what we're trying to do. Challenge in and of itself, but we love a good challenge. So it's been tough, and ever since COVID, you hear the excuse like people don't want to work and this and that. We choose not to believe that. Like at one point we did, right? When like every single interview was ghosting you, 14 in a row one day, all 14 didn't show up, didn't call, nothing. So I may have a little PTSD every so often when someone ghosts an interview, right? But after that, we could have just, leaned hard into like people suck, like no one wants to work.
No.
Yeah, the business that we're in, we chose not to believe that. And then now, with that mentality, finding the right people has been a lot easier. So there's a lot of people that don't, that don't really care as much. But when you find the ones that care, you start building teams around those people. And then that's been making me and my partner happy a lot lately. It's just finding the right people, building the right teams, and giving them that safe place, So.
Because the Armand has such a specific type of menu, and the stuff you serve. What was it? What inspired you to have a specific burger menu? And on top of that, what inspired the name Our Moms for the restaurant?
So once again, we're going to go back to when we were really young and really stupid. So when we went to the ATC office, and not only did they ask us for a food menu that we didn't have, they asked us for a DBA. And then I remember the look on that person's face when I said, "What's a DBA?" He was like, "Doing business as." And I was like, "Oh, we don't need one of those. Like, we have our LLC. I was super proud of it. Known for Investments LLC. Our agent, they're like, "No, dude. Like, you need a name." And at this point, we hadn't even chosen a name yet. So this was when your mom jokes were very big. Trent and I looked over at each other, and we literally just shrugged and said, "Your mom's?" It was like the food that we were had already written down. And it was kind of jokey enough, and at the time, trendy enough to be a bar name at the same time. So we started off as Your Moms, and then we changed to Our Moms when we stopped doing the college bar. And like I said, we changed overnight and didn't tell anybody that we changed our name. So, but we've always wanted to have that comfort feel.
The name Our Moms does kind of give like a comfort thing. Like it's all of our moms home cooking type of feeling.
We got lucky because all we had to do was drop the Y to make this happen. So we're very, very lucky. Didn't have to do a true rebrand, like the silhouette of the mom on the shirt stayed the same. We still have the neon sign from the old building at 111 East Morris in our new location in Hammond upstairs. Trent had the best idea ever, and he disconnected the Y from the sign, so it still says Your Moms, but when it lights up, it says Our Moms. So that's still upstairs in the Hammond location. If you ever make your way over there,
I don't think I've been up in the upper floor of the restaurant. I don't think I've ever noticed it said Your Moms. I just always seen the Our Moms.
Yeah,
I did not know that at all.
Now you'll notice, and when you see it,
I won't be able to not notice it.
Yeah, right. So the food, I don't know exactly how this came about. We would talk to people a lot, and we still do. That's where we get a lot of how we add things to the menu and what we decide to take off. And it's all about talking to our guests, and usually whatever they want, we try to give it to them. So when we first started, we did smash patties, and we got the feedback that people didn't like smash patties. We were ahead of our time apparently because now everybody likes smash patties.
Right.
But we were doing double smash patties before it was cool. But then our guests would give us feedback like, "Hey, we want a bigger burger patty. Same 8 ounces, right?"
Right.
But we ended up just kind of, like I said, we listened to the people, and we went to a bigger, larger patty, and then we started listening to all the cool things that other people would do. So they had an egg on one. I was like, "Oh, cool."
Right.
I haven't put an egg on it yet, right? And then as we were starting to make these items, we just tried to make them a little bit better than you would find on Pinterest or something, or if you Google burger recipes, they were all so boring. But part of the fun was, kind of to go back to how I started, was I just like to put a bunch of things together and see if it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, no big deal, right? But if it does work, then you have a banger in your hands. So we got real creative with a lot of stuff because we fry a lot of things. This is South Louisiana. We fry everything, right? We fried Twinkies and Snickers at one point. We fried it all. We could never figure out how to do fried ice cream consistently.
Right.
So never truly made it to the menu, but we've LTO'd that before. And then we do a lot of fried pickles, fried jalapenos, so we decided to put that on top of a burger. And those are some of our biggest sellers right now. We make I'd say 80 to 90% of all of our dressings from scratch. So So the ranch is made in house. Our recipe, so it's not just like Hidden Valley or something.
All right.
And most of our dressings are made by hand with our own recipes, and we started putting those on burgers. And then I can't remember how the mac and cheese burger came about.
Oh, that one's my favorite. I love the mac and cheese.
Oh yeah, it's you gotta have the bacon on it. You gotta have the homemade ranch, and the mac and cheese. I don't remember how it came about, but I think this story is accurate of how it came about, because we had mac and cheese, and then I watched somebody put mac and cheese on an actual burger one day. Like they took a bite, like they had their burger, and then they put some mac and cheese on top of it. And I was like, ooh, like what if that was a thing? So once again, don't quote me on that. I might be lying. I have seen it, but I don't know exactly where the idea came from. It's been so long. But it's things like that lead to new menu items for us for the most part.
DirecTV for Business National Accounts provides your customers the ultimate entertainment experience and the very best content. And becoming a national accounts client gives you the ultimate partner in curating that experience to your business's unique needs and brand standards across all locations nationwide. From exclusive live sports to real-time news and weather, premium content and consistent performance are just the beginning. With the largest support footprint in the industry, DirecTV for Business National Accounts provides a consultative experience like no other. Clients enjoy a relationship defined by white glove service with dedicated account and program managers to assist you every step of the way. From custom content recommendations that will keep your customers coming back to simplified and consolidated billing solutions, DirecTV for Business National Accounts provides proactive and responsive support, partnering with you to create a best-in-class experience for you and your customers. When you become a DirecTV for Business National Accounts client, you'll experience how ultimate entertainment and the power of strategic partnership empower you to create an unparalleled customer experience.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Satisfy your cravings with world-famous Louisiana seafood. All the flavors you love, prepared by our world-famous chefs, and fresh from our bountiful waters to your plate. So head over to your local favorite restaurant and be sure to ask for authentic Louisiana seafood. Brought to you by the Louisiana Restaurant Association and Louisiana Seafood Board. A perfect pair.
Not just anybody can make the perfect Sazerac. And not just anybody can offer Louisiana's hospitality industry the perfect workers' comp coverage. The Louisiana Restaurant Association's SIF team knows what hospitality businesses need. We truly care about your team's safety and your success. Everybody who's anybody goes with LRA workers' comp. Ask around. In this business, word of mouth is everything.
Mm-hmm. It seems like innovation is a big part of your brand, and you're doing more innovation than just with recipes. You're kind of doing something that I don't think any other restaurant really does, and you started your own podcast recently, the Mom's Dinner Table Talk.
Yes, we did.
Kind of, go through me with that. What inspired you to make a podcast about the restaurant industry?
All right. Okay. So I have a saying, I only do what's fun and makes me happy, right? I've been this way for at least the last decade, if not more. Because if you do something that you're not happy doing, you're in the wrong business, right? So food, hospitality, it's always made me happy. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, right? And it's always on such a small scale because you can only affect a certain amount of people in the four walls. You feel like your message is getting out there, but it's really not. So this is going to tie into the LRA a little bit. Okay. So the podcast actually came about because of the LRA in a sense.
Oh, okay.
During COVID, during the worst times for everyone, like right after 2021, I think everyone had the best year, and then everyone had the worst years following up after that, right? So we're not complainers, so we don't usually talk to other people about what's happening, but we're very internal about what's happening, right? Like we know we can do better. We know that things change for a reason. You have to adapt, and we know all of these things. But then when you're watching the sales decline, you're watching like the labor force kind of get worse and worse as you go, right? I started to wonder, are other people feeling this too, right? So in Hammond, we do a round table for all restaurant owners once a quarter. And it's really cool. So the chamber puts this on, and then just talking to them, you start to realize that they're all going through the same things that we're going through. And just being able to hear them talk about it, and you being able to tell your own side of things, you know, they start to make you feel better. You're starting to make them feel better. Yeah. And then that feeling I couldn't really get anywhere else, you know, in Baton Rouge. Even though my partner and I are from Baton Rouge, and we know a lot of people in Baton Rouge. We know a lot of business owners in Baton Rouge, but we don't always talk like this in front of most people, right? We don't talk about the problems that you're having. When most people say, "How's it going?" You're like, "Oh man, it's great." You focus on the positive. You know, like you're not gonna say like, "Oh man, like I'm so short-staffed today," or like food costs are through the roof. You know, right? You don't talk about those things because, let's be honest, most people don't want to hear about it. You know, so that's when I went to the food show, and Stephen Hightower was there, and we had known each other for a few years at this point, and it was kind of at that point where I was like, "Bro, Stephen, like, how do I figure out what's going on with this industry? You know, like what do I need to do? Like, what groups do I need to join? You know, like, how do I get on the inside?" And then I can't remember why I didn't think of this before, but I was at an LRA food show when we were having this conversation. He was like, "Join the LRA." And he was like dead serious, like, "Join the LRA." So the next day I joined the LRA, like, as a member. And then I remember thinking that you get out what you put in. So the LRA had like a meetup at Solu, and I went there. I went by myself. Didn't know anybody really, and that's where I met Brittany Ford. You know, that's where I met Aaron from Solu. I met a lot of people, and it was very cool because, like, it seemed like as soon as I saw them, we kind of clicked. You know, like the vibe felt right. Even though we didn't really talk much about business, you know, it was like very cool people who felt the same way about hospitality and food that I did. You know, drinks, obviously those help, right? Like, we all have kind of the same, like, we enjoy life, you know, we like to have fun. And then from there, I'm not even sure how it happened past that, but I had such a really good time with them that evening. And then I got invited to join the board, and I did, right? So I did. And when I met with Brad and Megan, I remember telling them, I was like, "If this isn't fun, like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm way too busy. Like, if I'm going to commit to something, I'm going to give it 100%, but I'm only going to give it 100% if I want to give it 100%. Like, it's got to be fun. It's got to be engaging, you know, because I'm a part of other things too that require a lot of time and energy." So, and I joke about this now because I haven't looked back since. The group that we have at the LRA now is phenomenal, man. It's I can make one call or one text to our group, and I can find out anything that I want about anything that I need. You know, like from vendors to what plumbers to use, hood vent cleanings. You know, it's the group that we have now is. I say now as if I was a part of it before, but this is the only group that I know. So the group that I know, so supportive, so helpful, and when you're around them, I'm not gonna say time flies by, right? But it does feel that way. It doesn't feel like it's effort. You know, it feels like we're all trying to do the same thing. We're just trying to help as many people as possible and have a lot of fun while we're doing it. So that's why I attribute the LRA to this podcast, because after being on the LRA and being on the board and talking to all the business owners and the operators and the people in it, I start to realize that there's really nothing out there that kind of gives people that chance to tell their side of the story and tell people why they enjoy this industry so much, you know. And that's how that started, and it's going pretty strong. I think we're on like episode number 10 coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, I think so.
Shane with Fresh Chef is going to be the next one this week. And we go on other people's podcasts too. We're going to Eat the Boot. We're doing Patty G this evening.
Oh, wow, okay.
Tuesday we're doing Patty G. So we're on other people's podcasts telling our story, but telling our story is one thing, but I want other people to be able to tell their story.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So we started another podcast in Hammond with another business owner down there. He owns Bento in downtown Hammond, the Depot in Independence. So I had I hadn't even done a podcast at this point before I spoke to him. We were just walking around downtown, and then he came out. I can't remember what he was doing, but I ended up talking to him for a couple of hours. And then and I'm the type of person where if I say something out loud, I'm going to have to do it. It's like an accountability tool for me. So I was like, dude, we should do a podcast together. I didn't be serious. He called me up next week and it was like, let's do this podcast. And I was like, oh man, like super nervous. And, you know, like I can talk to you, I can have a one-on-one conversation with anybody, but you start putting cameras in the way. And then I start to get really nervous. I don't know what to say. But I also, once again, love a good challenge. So anything that scares me, I really want to do it, because the more I do it, the less afraid I'm going to be. And so he started me with my first podcast technically, but it was going to be very centered around Hammond, because we've been in Hammond for over 15 years now, or 15 years. So we've been there for a very long time. And Hammond's so small, and the culinary scene over there it's really amped up over the last like 5 or 6 years. We've got some amazing restaurants, some amazing restaurateurs down there. And it's kind of a town where not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
Being able to have this, like, we call it Talk of Tangi. For the first 3 weeks, we didn't have a name for it, but now it's called the Talk of Tangi. And it's just bringing in, you know, vendors from the farmers market, you know, other business owners, you know, and it's just being able to let people talk. And at first I didn't think much about it. I really didn't, dude, you know, but then you start to get like all the comments on Facebook and Instagram, and then you start to get all the DMs, and then you start to still see people in real life, and they're like, dude, thank you so much for doing this. Like, you don't know how many views I got from this, or how many people saw this and came to see me, you know, and then you're like, okay, so I did it selfishly to get better at speaking in front of the camera, but on their end, they got a lot out of it too. And then when you start to see all the good that it can do, you want to start doing more of them. You know, like I'm sure like you're going to start doing a lot more of these podcasts for the LRA, because I was talking to you last week about it. You know, it's the exact same mission that I have for mine is you have for yours, right? Giving people that voice, and like interviewing the members, and like, you know, give people a place to talk about the good stuff, the bad stuff, the things that they're going through, and like let's have a conversation about it. So that's how it's probably going to evolve a whole lot more. This just, like I said, the very beginning of it. But then doing the one in Hammond, I started to realize, why don't I do one for Baton Rouge for us? And then that's how the LRA got into it, because I was like, how can I help the LRA more? Because I told Brittany Ford the other day, I've gotten so much out of the LRA, just from peace of mind, knowing that I'm not the only one struggling with things, you know, like having to increase menu prices, or, you know, people not showing up for work. Like, I'm not the only one. But if I didn't talk to anybody, I would feel very alone, you know, like I'd be on an island by myself, which the LRA has definitely shown me that there's a lot more people out there that are going through the same thing. And then get to talk about best practices, you know, like, so what are you doing to overcome this? You know, this is what I'm doing. And then you start to get a lot more ideas, and then, you know, it's people helping people, you know. It's really good to do that.
Well, I think we're about to wrap things up. I wanted to ask you one more question before we signed off. Is what's next for you? What does the future look like for you? You've got your successful restaurants, you've got your podcast, but what are your future goals in the next couple of years, if you have any?
Oh yeah. So I don't think this podcast is going to blow up. That's not a reason why I started it. My sister asked me, you really think it's going to blow up? I was like, I don't think it's going to blow up. But when I finish these podcasts, I send whoever's my guest, I send them basically the full video, and I say, hey, Chopper, do whatever you want with it. So out of these videos, you can probably get anywhere between 15 to 20 bits of content for social media. I won't do it for you. But I'll give you all of the content, and then you and your team can chop it up and do however you want. So the first one I did here was with the owner of Dearman's, Casey Evans. And then his team's chopped up a bunch of like quote unquote shorts, reels, you know. Because what I wanted truly out of this was to people to know who we are as human beings, not just as a business, right? Everyone looks and they're like, we've got 2 locations. We're working on a 3rd location in Prairieville right now. Oh, wow. And so when people see that, they assume that it's faceless. You know, I want them to know it's the same 2 dudes who didn't know what they were doing 15 years ago, still trying to figure it out, because we still don't know what we're doing. But I want people to know how much we care about it. and that when things go wrong, which they inevitably will, that we're going to make it right. Because I've heard so for every negative review that I get, no matter what it is, I reach out to the person. And by the time I get to talk to them on the phone, a lot of the times it's the exact same response. Oh, I didn't know anybody was going to reach out. And I was like, I see all of these, right? I'm the one that reaches out to you. I'm the one that's going to figure out what went wrong, and I'm going to be the one that makes it right for you. I'm not here to steal your money. I'm here to make sure that you have an incredible experience, that you love the food, and that you were treated, not just with kindness, but with like true hospitality. Like we talk about, I sell a $12 hamburger, right? But I want to offer you Ruth's Chris level service, like fine dining service for a $12 hamburger, and if I can do both of those things, I know you're going to be happy. I know you're going to tell more people about it, and I know more people are going to come walk through my doors. But then, most people, when I reach out to them, they're like, I didn't think anybody was going to answer. Like, I was like, why not? Like, you didn't think like there was like actual people that own this, like it's not like or something,
Right.
But then the best part is being able to talk to these people and then figure out like what went wrong and how we can do better, because it's all about, being that 1% better every single day. You're not going to learn, and you're not going to figure that out if you don't seek feedback. We have a saying at the restaurant when it comes to like how we train our team. We say that feedback is a gift, because most people don't have to give it to you. They'll just be quiet and never come back. The ones who are leaving reviews, the ones who are upset when things go wrong, they're the ones that really care about your business.
Right.
They care so much that they want you to know how badly they were hurt, and then you as the business owner need to figure out, how can I, make it right for you right now, but also make it right for you in the future. Because if I make it right for you in the future, I'm going to fix a lot of future problems for other guests. So that's how we inevitably always get better, is, just a little bit more like, so what did you not like about this? Like, how can we do just a little bit better for you next time? And then, like I said, finding the right people who care about the same things that you do. And we're very lucky now. We've got a great management team. We've got a great director of operations. We've got great staff that understand that it's all about how you make people feel. We should have a burger. We should have good food, right? Like, I think Casey told me, he was like, that's like the bare minimum, like the price of entry, But for what we're doing right now, how can we take it a step further without charging you any extra money?
Right.
So I think that's where the value is going to lie, and once again, in the hospitality side of things.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your, I'm sure, busy schedule to come and talk with me for a while. I do very much appreciate it.
Well, it was a great break, man. I'm about to go. But I enjoyed this a lot, man. Like, I loved that. When you reached out to me, I was very excited about it. I was like, yes, I get to be a guest. So
I was also excited. I just was excited to talk about our moms, because, like I said, I loved it so much. And I think we had briefly met during the showcase, and I was like, oh, you're moms. I love our moms. So that was a really fun experience for me, too, to actually, for a moment, get to talk with you face to face for a while.
Oh, that was awesome, man. I loved it. The showcase was amazing, too. I remember walking to interview people, trying to get my nerves out. I figured it's like exposure therapy, right? Like, the more I dive into it, the easier it's going to get eventually, right? Might not be right away, but eventually it'll start to get easier. And then, like, more people I can give content to for free, Yep.
Like I said, thank you so much for spending the time with me today to talk about the restaurant and our moms. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And make sure to check us in next week for another exciting episode of the We Live to Eat podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Louisiana Restaurant Association's We Live to Eat podcast. Please join us for future podcasts where we'll discuss restaurants, food, and culture in the state where we live to eat. Until then, bon appetit.